Hello, I'm Rhiannon Jones and welcome to Showcase. This week brought to you from the stunning Orchid Festival here at the world-famous Kew Gardens in London. This year inspired by the beauty of Peru and a celebration of its incredible biodiversity. Not to mention its staggering 3,000 species of orchids, many of which are on display here inside the Princess of Wales Conservatory. Also coming up, staying with inspiration from Latin America, we take an in-focus look at a more personal side of Mexican artist Frida Kahlo, unveiled at an exhibition in Istanbul. From here at Kew Palace, we bring you our very own top 5 rundown of British royal residences you can visit. Plus, of course, all our top stories from the world of entertainment news in this week's Snapshot Roundup. But first, let's find out more about this breathtaking display of orchids. Well, we're here with Solène, who is the supervisor and the designer of this absolutely breathtaking display of orchids. Solène, thank you so much for talking to us. And what goes into putting together an incredible festival like this, full of so many beautiful orchids?
So we take a year to come up with all the design and the ideas, and it's a collaborative work with the festival manager, the interpretation team, and we discuss with the science team at Kew. And then I come up with all the horticultural design. So this is some of the sketches that I've been doing for this year's festival. And then here it comes to life.
And we're in front of the central display here in the pond, which is the cornucopia. Talk us through that and what is it?
So the central display is a giant cornucopia, so like a weaved basket in the shape of a horn, so like horn of plenty. It's a classic symbol used for floristry, so it was easy for us to use it, to have it like really full of colors and multiple orchids and other plants. So we took that inspiration from the flag. The Peruvian flag has an emblem on it, and one of them is the cornucopia, to show the richness of minerals of the country. And we took that story and changed it to talk about the diversity, the richness of biodiversity and of plant that the country has.
You mentioned Peru there. Why was Peru chosen for this year's Orchids Festival?
Peru is really rich in orchids. It's got around 3,000 different species of orchids. And we do have a lot of Peruvian scientists that works at Kew, and lots of projects going in Peru.
And have you got any endangered species here at this festival?
There is endangered species, Peruvian species that we can display. One of them is displayed here as an hybrid. It's an hybrid, so it's not the species, but the species was once used to create hybrids. And
Is
it's the orange orchid that you can see around the rim of the cornucopia.
It's absolutely stunning. I mean, it's incredibly popular every year. Why do you think it is so popular, this Orchids Festival?
So orchids have always been a prized plant to own. They are quite temperamental to grow, but they are so special and beautiful. So that's why orchid every year brings joy to everyone that come and visit it. And that's what we try and do with our display, with the colorful display, celebrating a country. And there's music and art that join the party, and it's great.
Well, it's certainly colourful, it's very beautiful, and it's brightening up our winter. So for that, thank you very much, Solène.
Thank you.
Well, here we are with Henk Rolling, who is the master florist here at Kew Gardens at this Orchids Festival. What do you do here at Kew? What's your role in this beautiful
My
festival?
role in the festival is Solène, who is the manager of the Glass House. She designs the festival and and then we talk through her plans. Do you think we can make that? Do you think we can make that? And I'm going, yes, we can. I never say no. And then when January starts, we start creating all the frames for the animals, because we build lots of animals.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna just basically build all this beauty around you.
You talk about beauty around us. This is
Yes.
outrageously beautiful. Talk us
Thank
through
you.
this. Are you blending in?
I like colors.
You're
And
good.
I felt inspired by the flamingos or the pariguanas from Peru, which are pink basically. So I thought, let's go pink.
Absolutely stunning. Talk us through
Thank
these
you.
animals that you're talking about.
Yes, so the theme of this year's Orchid Festival is Peru. So we're going for like typical Peruvian animals, the paraguana that I just mentioned, the flamingo. We have alpaca vicuña, which is the wild predecessor of the alpaca. We have parrots. We have basically an aviary full of tropical birds.
Talk to us about orchids. What are orchids to you and why are they so popular?
Well, orchids are, it's one of the biggest plants families that we have. And they're so diverse, which is beautiful. So from Peru, we have some, on a cornucopia behind me, we have some mandevilla. We have lots of phalaenopsis, which are not necessarily from South America, but they bring so much color and joy. And that's what we need in this time of the year. I mean, outside is gray and dark and miserable and cold. And people come in here and they're transported to this magical world that we are creating. Yeah. And that's really, it makes people feel good. And that's what we're trying to do.
And how many orchids do you have in here?
We have about 5,000 orchids.
Wow.
About 3,000 of them are the phalaenopsis. And the rest is a mixture of vandas, the ones that you see hanging above the pond. And we have lots of South American orchids, which are usually slightly smaller and a little bit less blousy. But they are sort of mixed in with all the other plants. And then we have bromeliads, and we have foliage plants. And everything we try to have as colorful as we can.
I can see that. Do you have a favorite orchid?
That is like asking, do you have a favorite child? But for this year's Orchid Festival, I think the one that stands out to me is the Masdevallia, which is the Peruvian orchid. It's a very interesting shape. It's like triangular. And it almost doesn't look like a real flower, but it's very special.
Thank you. Honestly, it's been such a joy. Thank you very much. We're here with Dr. Carolina Tovar, a scientist here at Kew. And are you Peruvian? What does it make you feel to be here at the Orchids Festival? It's focusing on Peru this year.
Yeah, it's fantastic because I've been working here since 2015, and this is the first time that Kew decided to honor Peru. So it's really impressive the work that the horticulture team has done to represent the different aspects, not only about biodiversity and the plants and animals, but also about the cultural heritage we have. So it's really a trip across Peru, showing you all the biodiversity we have and the cultural aspects of my country. So it's really exciting.
I can see your face lighting up. And what is it that this festival does? Does it highlight important aspects when it comes to nature and orchids and climate change?
Yes, so we have to make the team wanted to make a representation of, as I said, the biodiversity, but also combine it with the research we are doing here to promote, raise awareness about the importance of biodiversity, the threats that this biodiversity is facing, but also the conservation actions that we can take to protect those valuable resources that we have here.
Carolina, it's been a pleasure. Ha sido un placer. Muchísimas gracias. Thank you very much.
Muchas gracias. Thank you.
Time now for this week's Top 5. Now, as well as showcasing spectacular floral celebrations like this one, Kew is also home to the magnificent Kew Palace. It's the smallest of the British royal palaces, but one that still packs an impressive punch of history. Once home to King George II and Queen Caroline, it then served several generations of Georgian royalty, including King George III, incarcerated here during his first bout of madness in 1788. The house was finally opened to the public in 1899. So, inspired by Kew Palace, we bring you our very own Top 5 rundown of right royal residences you can visit across the UK. Cue the regal music. At number 5 is Hampton Court Palace. Sat on the edge of the River Thames, this magnificent Tudor palace was once home to Henry VIII and his equally famous, albeit ill-fated, 6 wives. It's a fascinating site of historic interest, surrounded by beautiful gardens, and was officially opened to the public back in 1838 by Queen Victoria. At number 4, it's Sandringham House. This privately owned royal estate in Norfolk famously plays host to the Royal Christmases and was opened to the public in 1977, the Queen's Silver Jubilee year. The estate's made up of the house itself, farmland, woodland, orchards, and a number of small village properties. The peaceful residence is said to be enjoyed more and more by King Charles since he took the throne. At number 3, Balmoral Castle in Scotland. It's been home to the royal family ever since it was purchased by Prince Albert for Queen Victoria in 1852. Set in the Highlands, it's said to be the late Queen's favourite home and a much-loved residence of the royals, who for many years enjoy hunting in the grounds. In at number 2, it's Buckingham Palace. Perhaps a surprise it's not taking the top spot. Well, this official residence of the King and Queen is surely one of Britain's most recognised historic sites. Buckingham House was bought in 1761 by George III for Queen Charlotte and has become an iconic landmark here in London, often used for national celebrations, royal weddings, and an awful lot of waving at the public from its famous balcony. And taking the throne at number 1, it's Windsor Castle, the largest and oldest occupied castle in the world, boasting almost 1,000 years of architectural history. It's still an official royal residence today and was the venue for Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's wedding. The original castle was built by William the Conqueror himself in the 11th century, following the Norman invasion of England to protect the western approach to London, and it's been used by reigning monarchs ever since. And what a palace it is. Well, there you have it, our top 5 British royal palaces. But do you agree? Let us know. Now, seeing as we're surrounded by stunning Peruvian orchids for In Focus this week, we're staying with the Latin American theme. Here's a more intimate look at Mexican monobrowed beauty Frida Kahlo with an exhibition in Istanbul.
Today we step into the extraordinary world of Frida Kahlo right here at Istanbul's Atatürk Cultural Center, because this exhibit goes beyond her iconic paintings, delving deep into her personal diaries to reveal the soul behind the art. Through an innovative blend of physical and digital mediums, her thoughts, dreams, and resilience come to life like never before.
Frida Kahlo is known for her bold colors, assertive fashion choices, surrealist imagery, and perhaps most of all, the deep emotion in her paintings that depict her personal struggles. The Mexican artist didn't have an easy life. She suffered from polio as a child, and at 18, she was severely injured in a bus accident that left her in pain for the rest of her life. Throughout her lifetime, she underwent 32 surgeries and endured a chaotic marriage with Diego Rivera, filled with so many ups and downs. But art was her outlet. She painted constantly as a means of self-expression. Another important aspect of her creative journey was writing in her diaries.
Frida Kahlo is a great artist, but she's a very strong character, so she inspired millions in many different ways. So we want to show her life and in a different perspective with her diaries. So we want to show people how she thinks, how she feels, and how she processes her art through what she has throughout the years.
The organizers of the exhibit say that, with the help of digital mediums, they can create a new way of showcasing art to enhance the visitor's experience.
Technology plays a significant role in this exhibit, leading you to describe it as phygital. So can you please tell us more about this term and what makes an exhibit phygital?
So it's the combination of the design and art and technology. As you mentioned, exhibitions are changing and new generation also want to be more interactive. So to inspire all kind of visitors, we use the technology and the physical design together. In some rooms, there are like 3D objects and digital designs that we created. In other side of the exhibitions, we work with the local artists. They created an art installation in digital platforms. Like we have a huge diary that animated the personal diaries.
Alongside 52 pages from Frida's diaries, the exhibit features her photographs, personal items, and an AI-generated piece that imagines what Frida would look like if she were alive today. The organizers hope that visitors will gain a more personal look into Frida's life. More importantly, they want this show to tell the artist's fascinating story again, but this time from a different perspective. Esra Drust, TRT World, Istanbul.
And from one Latin American artist to another, I'm delighted to say we're joined here by Peruvian photographer Mariano Vivanco, whose stunning photography plays a huge part in this Orchids Festival. How does it feel to be part of this incredible experience?
It's an honor, a privilege to get chosen to be part of this. I'm deeply humbled, and I'm just so happy to be here.
Well, we've just come from the humid Orchid Conservatory to this very dry, arid land surrounded by your stunning photography, Mariano, all dedicated to your homeland.
Yes.
Tell us a bit about that.
It's a compilation of history, mythology, and landscape of Peru.
What was your inspiration for it, and how did it make you feel going back to your homeland and discovering all this history?
I mean, I feel richer for it because there were so many things I learned about myself, my country, my culture, which made me feel very rich inside, for real.
What ties you still to your homeland?
Part of my family still live there, and my fond memories, the food, the people. Yeah, I love Peru. I go as often.
What makes it such a special country?
You have to go. You have to go.
I do have to go. I don't know it. What makes Peru such an incredible country?
The people, the feeling you have when you're there, and of course the food, and of course the great places you can visit. Yeah. Not just Machu Picchu or Lima, but the north, Trujillo, the jungle, Iquitos, and more. It's the most biodiverse country ever, and it's magical.
So when you were approached by Kew Gardens to
Yes.
be part of this Orchids Festival, how did you go about selecting which photographs to use? Have you got a favourite?
Oh God, let me think. Probably the exit of Chan Chan, because it asks you about the future.
And when you were studying or
Yeah.
researching,
Yeah.
did it give you a sense of pride?
Yes.
What did you learn in particular?
It reinforced a few things I already knew. Like in Inca culture, if you lied, they would cut off your tongue. If you stole, they would cut off your hands, and you couldn't be lazy. So
you've learned
that
to not
applies.
do any of those.
Reinforced it. Reinforced it.
You are also a very well-known portrait photographer and fashion photographer. And you have photographed some incredibly big names. Could you reel a few of them off for us, please?
Oh, Rihanna, J.Lo, Kim Kardashian, Lady Gaga.
Wow, have you got a favourite?
No, that I can't say.
You can't choose.
No,
Okay,
no.
who's the most interesting to photograph?
Rihanna will always hold a special place in my heart.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Why?
she's very real, very kind, very cool. The portrait I took of Lily Cole when I was doing model portfolios when I first started in London, I'll never forget that because the photo really resonated as I was taking it. And now that photo's in the National Portrait Gallery.
Wow.
Photographing the artifacts in the Museum of Gold in Lima, they let me open them and photograph them, and I felt like I was shooting celebrities. They had so much energy. Working with Rihanna and Damien Hirst when we made her into Medusa, I'll never forget that.
Who's the biggest diva?
Oh God, me? No, I'm kidding. No.
Any divas in there?
I mean, there are many types of divas and many levels.
How about J.Lo? What's she like?
J.Lo is great, very firm in her decisions and her thoughts, but she was the ultimate professional, swinging on a swing we'd made on the edge of a car park in the top of LA. So yeah, I mean, mental, yeah. So no, I've been really lucky in my career.
So no diva behaviour from J.Lo after all that? No.
You know what? This was 5 years ago, and I run a pretty tight ship. Everybody's in their best behavior around me.
Thank you very much. Ha sido un placer. Gracias.
Placer mío.
Well, I can't let you go, Mariano, without asking, can I have a selfie? Thank you. Here's Esra now for this week's Entertainment News Roundup Snapshot.
Thank you, Rhiannon. It was a night of big wins and historic moments as the stars of the music industry came together for the 67th Annual Grammy Awards. And at the top of the night, Beyoncé. She took home Album of the Year for the first time in her career with Cowboy Carter. That win makes her the first Black woman to claim the top prize in the 21st century. And just hours after her historic win, she announced a massive stadium tour across the US and Europe starting this spring. Kendrick Lamar was another big winner of the night. He won Record and Song of the Year for Not Like Us and swept all 5 categories he was nominated for. He dedicated his wins to LA, where the ceremony was held. The night was packed with outstanding performances from The Weeknd to Sabrina Carpenter, while LA firefighters took the stage to hand out the Album of the Year award. In a heartfelt moment, artists paid tribute to the legendary Quincy Jones. The 2025 Super Bowl is just around the corner and it's packed with star power. The halftime show has long been a centerpiece of the NFL's biggest night, drawing the largest TV audience for any musical performance in America. Over the years, iconic names like the Rolling Stones, Bruce Springsteen, Rihanna, and Coldplay have taken the stage. This year, the spotlight belongs to Kendrick Lamar, who, with 22 Grammy wins, including 5 this year, is set to make history as the first solo rapper to headline the Super Bowl halftime show. But the Super Bowl isn't just about football or music, it's also a battleground for brands.
You're an alien? All famous people are aliens.
I'm not.
I meant like really famous people.
With 30-second commercial spots costing a record $8 million, expectations are sky high with ads featuring celebrities like Gordon Ramsay, Pete Davidson, Meg Ryan, Billy Crystal, Ben Affleck, Jeremy Strong, and Adam Brody. So game on. Just recently, people were talking about Emilia Perez, the Netflix movie with 13 Academy Award nominations. Now, 2 weeks later, the movie is the talk of the town again, but this time not in a good way. The lead actor of the film, Carla Sofia Gascon, is facing backlash after her past Islamophobic and racist social media posts resurfaced. Gascon apologized for the offensive tweets, most of which date back to 2020 and 2021, and stated in an interview with CNN and Espanol that she will not withdraw from the Oscar race. But Netflix has already removed Gascon from its For Your Consideration promotional materials. She is also no longer expected to attend major entertainment industry events, including the Critics' Choice Awards. We continue with good news for Marvel fans. The official teaser for Fantastic Four: First Steps is out, and the film will hit theaters on July 25th. Now let's take a look at the first teaser, which gained more than 20 million views in just one day.
Before we went up the first time, you couldn't turn invisible. Ben wasn't a rock.
The best pilot in the world right here.
Yeah. Best looking, he means.
And Johnny never caught fire.
Seems like a solid comeback, doesn't it? But binge watchers, we haven't forgotten about you either. This month brings some exciting releases. Fan favorite shows like Yellow Jackets and The White Lotus are returning with new seasons, while brand new series are set to captivate audience. And Zero Day is our top pick. Robert De Niro makes his highly anticipated television debut in this political thriller, starring as a former U.S. president in a story that delves into themes of power and disinformation. The limited series premieres on February 20.
Whoever's responsible for this attack, they're dangerous and they say they're going to do it again.
Now we're heading to the West Coast for a new legal drama, Suits LA. As you can guess, it's a spin-off.
We're about to be the largest firm in the city.
Suits LA follows a new group led by Ted Black, a former New York prosecutor who built an LA law firm specializing in criminal and entertainment law. And get ready, Harvey Specter is expected to make an appearance, and the premiere is set for February 23rd. Now on to a different kind of drama, Apple Cider Vinegar.
I was diagnosed with a stage 4 brain tumor.
Adapted from the 2017 book The Woman Who Fooled the World, this series tells the story of an Australian influencer, Belle Gibson, and her false claim of curing a fictional brain cancer with wellness remedies. The 6-episode limited series is already out, so it's perfect for a weekend binge. Well, that's all from me for this week, Rhiannon. Back to you.
Thank you, Esther. Well, that's it from all of us here at Showcase, brought to you from the stunning Orchid Festival here at Kew Gardens. And we hope you've enjoyed it as much as we have. A big thank you to all our guests. And don't forget, you can catch up on all our episodes on the Showcase YouTube channel. Coming up on next week's show, I'll be chatting to the Great British Bake Off star Nadia Hussain about her new cookbook, inspired by her Muslim upbringing and Ramadan. We'll see you then.